This is a story about John Michael Gilmore, my loving father. Like every parent, he had a long history before I ever met him. Part 1. He was born in 1968 and raised in a small town deep in nowhere, Mississippi, with his 3 older siblings. Like me, he was the baby of the family, a fact that his siblings never let him forget. They referred to him as their baby brother even as he entered his 50s. From the stories I have heard, it is somewhat of a miracle that he lived to see adulthood at all. He experienced many close calls and nasty accidents starting as soon as he came into the world. He was born 9 weeks premature and had to spend 3 months in an incubator. He was announced in his hometown newspaper as Baby Boy Gilmore, as his parents were too afraid to give him a name. He pulled through, but life didn't get much safer after that. At age 4, he almost drowned following his oldest sister into a pond. When he was 7, he was hit by a car so hard that it sent him flying and knocked a shoe off. He chopped off his fingertip while playing with a BB gun when he was 10, and then chopped the same fingertip off while shucking corn at age 15. The second time this happened, my grandpa told him that if he did it again, he was just going to have to live without it. In college, he joined the Army National Guard with several of his friends and was almost deployed for Operation Desert Storm. But remember, he was a fighter. None of these close calls got him. He married my mom in 1994, surrounded by friends and family. Together, they had my sister in the year 2000, and I came 2 years later. Even after reaching adulthood, getting married, and having 2 kids, he still could not avoid close calls. I remember laughing at a story he called the afternoon hoedown, an encounter he had with a copperhead in my grandma's backyard. Fortunately, both he and the snake lived to tell the tale, although his knee gave him a lot of troubles after that. Perhaps the scariest close call of his life came when he was 53. In 2020, when COVID-19 came around, lots of people's lives were shaken up. His was no exception. We spent the summer of that year in quarantine, riding bikes and making memories. That was also the summer we found out he had some pretty serious heart problems. This new discovery made it even scarier when he came down with COVID in August of that year and was hospitalized. Part 2. The welcome home celebration we hosted when he got better was more exciting than any party my family had ever thrown. He played it much safer after that. This final close call was a reminder to us all of the fleeting nature of life. From that moment on, he made it his mission to be as present as possible in the lives of his loved ones. He attended every play, pageant, and award ceremony with a big smile on his face. He cheered louder than anyone when I graduated high school and helped me move into my college dorm. When my boyfriend asked for my hand in marriage, he gave him the classic dad response, making him sweat before giving his nod of approval. At my wedding, he walked me down the aisle and we danced to I Loved Her First by Heartland for our father-daughter dance. I don't think I ever saw him happier than when he was holding my daughter, his first grandchild. After he retired, he spent most of his time in the yard with my mom, tending their raised gardens and keeping his bird feeders full. It's quite a romantic story. He and my mom grew old together, and it was not until every last hair on his head had turned gray, and he had met his first 3 great-grandchildren, that death was able to capture him. Truthfully, Part 2 never happened. It was merely a figment of my imagination. A story I concocted to help me cope with losing my dad. He passed, like so many others, alone in a hospital bed that August in 2020. You see, before he died, he spent quite some time in a coma. I don't know what goes through your mind when you're on your deathbed, but I like to think that, for him, it was this story. Part 2 is not my reality, but I hope that it felt real for him. I hope that he lived the rest of his life, even if it only happened in a dream.